Aloha everyone, my name is Charles and this is the Hawaii Volcano Watch Report for February 2020. Before I get started with the report, some of you may have seen my community post here on YouTube or my post on the Facebook page about naming Doing Hawaii's drone. For those who haven't, I have decided to give the drone a name and I want your suggestions. The person who suggests the winning name will receive an award from Something New once it's available. For more information, please take a look at the community post on YouTube or the Facebook page post. Links for both will be in the description below. In this first part of the watch report, we look towards the Mauna Loa Volcano. On Thursday, February 6, 2020, the USGS reported that over the past week, seismometers recorded 134 small quakes below the upper elevations of the volcano. The strongest of these earthquakes occurred on February 3rd and was a magnitude of 2.4 in strength. GPS measurements continue to show inflation on the summit, which is consistent with magma supply to the shallow storage system. The sulfur cone monitoring station, located on the southwest rift zone of Mauna Loa, reports gas concentrations are remaining stable. Finally, temperature measurements at the sulfur cone and summit fumaroles have shown no significant changes. Moving over to the Kilauea Volcano, observations and monitoring data from January show rates of seismicity were variable but consistent with long-term trends. The emission of sulfur dioxide at the summit remains low and is still below detection limits in the lower east rift zone and up at Pu'u'o'o. Up at the Kilauea summit, the lake at the bottom of the Halema'uma'u Crater continues to expand and deepen steadily. Measurements based on data from the beginning of February indicated the water body was approximately 310 feet by 640 feet, or 95 meters by 194 meters in size, with a calculated depth of around 82 feet, or 25 meters. There have also been new water samples taken from the lake, which I will take a closer look at later in the report, so please stay tuned for those results. To continue, 8 deflation-inflation events beneath the summit have occurred over the last month, which is slightly less than in December of 2019. Looking back between March and December of 2019, the GPS and tiltmeter stations at the Kilauea summit has been recording data indicating signals consistent with slow magma injection into the shallow portion of the magma system. Though in January, rates of deformation at the Kilauea summit seem to have decreased slightly. Measurements of sulfur dioxide gas continue to be at low levels, which appears to indicate no shallowing of magma at this time. However, the summit lake water is dissolving some of the sulfur dioxide emissions. Work is continuing to attempt to understand this process. Focusing on the East Rift Zone, GPS and tiltmeter stations are still confirming motions harmonious with the slowed refilling of the deep magmatic reservoir in the expansive area between Pu'u'o'o and Highway 130. Just like at the summit in January, deformation rates in this area also seem to have decreased slightly as compared to March through December of 2019. The analysis of the current monitoring data shows no indication to suggest any variance in pending volcanic activity for this area. There is still motion in the East Rift Zone, and the south flank of Kilauea proceeds to move towards the ocean at a rate higher than before the 6.9 magnitude earthquake on May 4th, 2018 near Kalapana. There is currently no eruptive activity or active lava flows on the Big Island of Hawaii. However, Sections of the 2018 eruption and fissure locations still present persistently elevated ground temperatures and minor emissions of gas. This gas is mostly water steam, tiny amounts of hydrogen sulfide, and carbon dioxide. We should anticipate this type of activity to be long-term, comparable to the conditions following the 1955 eruption of the Kilauea Lower East Rift Zone. Now for a closer look at the Halema'uma'u Crater Lake and the water sample collected on January 17, 2020. Clear weather on this day allowed HVO to make visual observations and measurements. There were no significant changes detected at the lake, though the water level does continue to rise slowly. Looking at a close-up of the lake, we can see the color variations continue to persist across the water surface. It is also evident that sharp boundaries exist between different color zones in the water body. The USGS and DOI team members also conducted another mission to collect 3 water samples on January 17th using the same collection method as the previous mission. A 20-foot or 6-meter long cord was attached to the drone and a plastic collection sleeve. Connected to the cable are colored flags attached at intervals of 5 feet or 1.5 meters. These flags allow the drone pilot and other team members to judge the depth of the sample collection container under the surface of the water. The first sample was collected close to the surface of the water. The second is from a yellow-orange patch of water from 10 to 15 feet or 3 to 4.5 meters deep. Finally, the third came from a yellow-green area of water at approximately the same depth. As each water sample is collected, the drone returns to the launch site to deliver it to the waiting scientists for evaluation. Field notes on each sample include the water pH value and temperature data. The pH test results for each specimen are as follows. The surface water sample measured at 4.3. The yellow-orange water sample was 4.2, and the yellow-green water sample was a 3.9 pH value. Analysis by the USGS California Volcano Observatory indicates the water samples are chemically similar to those from October 2019. However, the water specimens appear more diluted, possibly as a result of recent heavy rainfall. It seems the ongoing chemical reactions between the water, volcanic gases, and the basaltic rocks are the catalyzing agent producing these results. Wrapping up this report, we travel back down to the Lower East Rift Zone to Fissure 8 in Leilani Estates. On January 21st, 2020, the HVO geologists carried out an overflight of the East Rift Zone. Looking uprift towards the west, we see Fissure 8 prominently displayed in this photo. This fissure became the dominant vent during the 2018 Lower East Rift Zone eruption and is the most popular known fissure from the event. It gained this claim to fame due to the dramatic heights of its lava fountains, the mesmerizing and vast lava river it created, and the tremendous amount of lava it produced. During the morning overflight, USGS personnel took this video of Fissure 8. You can see gas emissions coming from the smaller fissure side vents to the right and from the rim of the fissure cone itself. This gas is mostly water steam, tiny amounts of hydrogen sulfide, and carbon dioxide. It is also a visual indication that residual heat remains trapped beneath the lava fields and in the rift system. These elevated temperatures will persist for some time to come if we use the 1955 eruption as a comparison. The next video, also taken during the overflight, is from a thermal camera. The yellow colors indicate higher temperatures, and the small, brightest areas indicate temperatures higher than 212 degrees Fahrenheit or 100 degrees Celsius. The yellow, hotter areas could represent the places where the underlying residual heat is finding its way to the surface. What I find intriguing is the temperature of the fissure vent shaft in the center appears colder, relatively speaking, as compared to the surrounding area. One would think that it would be a perfect escape path for the trapped heat beneath. Remember, if you like this type of content, then click that thumbs up button to let me know. If you haven't subscribed yet and want to receive notifications of when the next Hawaii Volcano Watch Report is available, click the subscribe button, then click the bell icon and select all notifications. Don't forget to check out the excellent merchandise I have available. Your purchase helps to fund the channel and allows me to produce these great reports and other content for you. You can find links to that, including my Facebook page, Instagram, and Twitter, in the description. Mahalo for your support, and please have an incredible morning, afternoon, or evening.